Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here, and this is my Game Week 21 latest news video. Before I start, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button if you like what you see, give the video a like, and be sure to get your comments in ahead of another drama-filled, expected, drama-anticipated game week. I'm sure of it, as always. So what I'll do is I will share screen on the official FPL website and go through my favorite tips and thoughts ahead of what's going to be another big game week for all managers. So on screen here, you can see there, you've got the likes of Salah and Son, the top point scorers in the game, are out of this game week due to their international duties, AFCON and Asia Cup. So leading into that is my first thought, and that is injuries for this game week. We'll start with Haaland, yellow flagged, 50% chance of playing. He is in full training. So he's back in full training for Man City. Do I think he'll start? You can never second guess Pep, but I don't think he will. City don't need to rush him in. They're playing a tough game away at Newcastle, but it's an under fire Newcastle. Lots of injuries in their squad as well. Players coming back from injuries, going through a bit of a bad time there. And City are playing well enough at the moment that they can probably afford to bench Haaland and bring him on if they need. They've got De Bruyne in the squad again as well. So for me, I don't think Haaland starts this one, but I can see him bouncing back against Burnley probably in game week 22, where he'll likely get the hat-trick in that one, when he does against those newly promoted sides. Another one here, Jared Bowen, ankle injury, 75 chance of playing. I would say, even though West Ham play on the second week of this game week, I would say that 75 chance is a lot lower than that. I think it's more 40, sort of 50%. David Moyes has said he's likely going to be out for about 3 weeks or so. So I would suggest that Bowen is out of game week 21. And then we'll go to another crucial injury as well. You can't quite see the flag there, but Trent Alexander-Arnold should be red flagged for this game week. Does not look like he's going to be back until probably around this time here. I'll highlight it on the screen. Game week 23 away to Arsenal. Really big blow that is, especially for someone like my team where I've already got the likes of Salah and Son away. Trent was potentially a captain option. He was looking really good for Liverpool. That injury is a huge, huge blow. And then the last one that I want to talk about in terms of injury, but I think it's quite crucial to managers that have him in their squad, is Charlie Taylor from Burnley. Shoulder injury, 75 chance of playing, hasn't been pictured in training. He's got the home fixture against Luton, which, look, it is a tough game, but this is probably the game week where you would have gone to Charlie Taylor as your substitute option to play, your cheap bit of bench fodder. But again, it looks like he might miss it. We'll get early team news on Charlie Taylor, though. So let's go into some differentials for this game week. So let's go into my second point, and we'll talk about the differentials that I like for this game week. And I'm going to go to Aston Villa. And one player I'm really interested in at the moment, 4.1 points per game, 5.7 million, and only 3.8% owned, is Leon Bailey away to Everton. Tough game at Goodison Park. But what I like about Bailey, if you have a look here at his recent form, so there you go, from game week 12, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 game weeks. And he's returned in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game weeks with goals, at least a goal or an assist across those. That's pretty good going considering his price. And the reason I'm saying I like Leon Bailey as a differential is if you swap Salah for Leon Bailey and have the money then that you have left over, you can bring Haaland in ready for game week 22 against Burnley without having to take a hit, most likely, if you're swapping him for, someone like a Dominic Solanke, as an example. So it's a cheap option if you're not looking to take any hits in following weeks to bring back Haaland. But I also think it's a good option with Aston Villa. As I quickly go back on there, Everton away, followed by Newcastle at home, Sheffield United away, and there's some good green as well later on down the track for Bailey. He's looking really sharp for Villa. So liking him as a differential. My next one, we'll go to Manchester United, playing at home to Spurs. United do, occasionally flatter to deceive, but 3 goals in their last home game against Villa. Garnacho there with 2 returns in his last 3, only 4.8 million. Looks like he's nailed down a spot, and he's 5.1% owned as well. Good form. Again, really good fifth midfielder, cheap option if you need that money for Erling Haaland. And then another differential who I'll bring up in the absence of Jared Bowen, in the absence of Kudus, someone else will need to surely step up for West Ham. And look, his ownership is a bit higher at 8.2%, but James Ward-Prowse, look, he hasn't hit the returns so much lately there. You can see there's 2 returns in that last, 5 or 6 game weeks. Early on in the season, he was getting quite a few returns. But if you want to get a couple of green fixtures with Sheffield United and Bournemouth and the set piece threat that James Ward-Prowse has, it's probably not a bad little differential to try for a couple of game weeks as a midfielder. And you can at least have that set piece threat. So let's go on to my next tip. And it's going to be captains. And who do I think the best captains are? And we'll start with someone who has been very under fire in FPL lately, and that's Bukayo Saka at 59.5% owned, averaging 5.6 points per game at 9 million. You can see here returns against Fulham, and then his last return before that was all the way against Luton. Then there was Wolves and Brentford and Burnley. But he's not really hit any massive scores this season. Only Spurs at home is his only double-digit score. Plays against Palace, and for those managers that captained Saka at home against Palace last season will remember his double-digit score, a couple of goals and an assist. He got a massive score in that. So that will probably tempt you to look at captaining him. So for me, he's probably the best captain, plays on the second week as well. Arsenal are coming under fire, so is Saka. I think this is a game they need to bounce back, score some goals and win the game. And I think Saka is a good captain shout this week. My next one is obviously Chelsea. Safe option of Palmer on pens for Chelsea. 18 points against Luton in his last game week. They were poor in the midweek against Middlesbrough, losing 1-0. But they do have a home game. Second fixture of the game week. Remember, the Burnley game is now the first game week fixture as it's been moved. There's an early deadline on Friday night or Saturday morning if you're here in Australia. So Fulham at home for Cole Palmer. Popular choice. I think a lot of people look to captain him. And then my big curveball captain for the game week and differential is this man here. Back from his ban. Let's find him. Can't even find him because he hasn't had any points this season. So we'll do it by price. And it's Ivan Toney, 7.9 million. Scored a hat-trick in the under-23s game for Brentford in the last week. Surely he gets straight back in the team and starts. He says he's ready to fire for Brentford after they stood by him. Forest at home. Huge captain option. Massive rank gains if he can score a couple of goals. 0.4% owned. Was brilliant in FPL last season. So that's it with the captains. I'll go through my last couple of points. So remember, and we'll go here into the fixtures. We'll share that now. This game week is over 2 weeks. So here you go, the Saturday games, Sunday games, Monday, which these would be Sunday in the UK, followed by the following week, some Saturday, Sunday, sort of Monday, and even this game here, which is a Monday night in England. So it's spread over 2 weeks, followed by a break the week after, and then some FA Cup. So they've done this so teams get a break, a winter break in the season. So if you are looking to make your captain choice, you probably want to captain someone. Well, again, it doesn't matter when you captain someone, to be honest, but you want to try and vice captain someone that plays on a different week to your captain. So, for example, if you captain Palmer, then you probably want to make your vice captain someone in this game week in case Palmer doesn't. If something goes wrong, COVID, or we had obviously what happened with the Queen's death last year. You just never know in FPL, so you've probably got to be a little bit careful on that front, or weather, that snow. You just never know what's going to happen. So just remember that, along with the new early deadline. Saturday morning in Australia, Friday night in England due to Burnley versus Luton. And then my last point, we'll go back into the statistics. And there is a new player in the game. And Spurs have made their earliest January signing. Their last 9 signings in January have been on deadline day. They've finally made one before deadline day. Let's go to Spurs. We'll find him now. Timo Werner comes back to the Premier League. Let's find him here in FPL. Let's go to Spurs and we'll go to price. You can still see Kane in there. Well, look, he's not there. So let's refresh the page and see if he comes on here. back to Spurs. We'll now go to the second page. There he is. He's here. 0.2% only. Still in his Chelsea shirt. That's a big shame. I'm a Spurs fan, so that's sad to see. But he did show in some parts at Chelsea, got that hat trick early on in the season. We all thought he was going to be a big FPL player at the time. I remember him. He was around, 9.5 million. We thought he was going to be a lot better than he was. But he could get into the Spurs lineup on that left or right-hand side or central role. 6.5 million. There's a lot of potential in Timo Werner if he can get his goal-scoring boots on, like we saw in his first spell at Leipzig. So one to watch out for. But again, I wouldn't be rushing to get him in. So look, let's leave that there. I'll stop sharing screen. Thanks to everyone that has tuned in to the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. As I mentioned before, if you're new, please give the video a like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. I'm FPLMattDay. I'll be back with plenty of tips before deadline and also a live stream. I'll see you all there. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.